Stephen here with a look inside at sibling conflict. You'd be surprised how common this is. Most people are embarrassed to talk about it, but it's extraordinary how many people ask me about it in whispers. But it's very, very common. When we're children, we don't have a sense of the social limitations and the social cues, and we can be, it's well known, children can be really horrible to each other. And among siblings that often happens. Usually one sibling's older than the other and is able to manipulate and bully if that sort of environment nurtures manipulation and bullying. So there's always the possibility for that, and it happens a great deal. And one of the ways in which people try to deal with this is by breaking off the relationship, or at least trying to. But in my experience, that simply doesn't work, because when you try to stop speaking to your sibling, the conversation continues in here. You're not allowed to talk to them in person, but you can't stop talking to them because that conversation's been going on all your life. And of course, what this means is now you're not getting any feedback at all from the sibling. This is all in your own head. You're going through the same conversations over and over and over and over again. So you're not free of that conflict at all. In fact, you're more trapped by it than you would be if you were actually fighting with this other sibling. Okay, so how do we deal with this from a mindful point of view is you pay attention to what you expect here. You pay attention to your own behavior so that when you walk into that situation, first of all, you're allowing yourself to interact to a certain extent with the sibling because it's family, you run into each other. So you allow yourself to do it, but you do not allow yourself to simply react the way you always have done before. And that's a very hard rule to enforce with yourself. It takes time to get there. When I came back from India the first time, I'd been away for a year, and I thought, a year, my life has changed. They won't recognize me. I'm completely different. And I walked into my family home and I reverted into the Stephen who had lived there before I ever went to India, before I ever became a monk, before I ever knew anything. So the triggers are all there, and the reactivity is all built in by now. I've been rehearsing this since I was a little boy. So how do I change that reactivity? With mindfulness, slowly, one bit at a time. Sometimes you see yourself getting mad and you actually blurt it out, but you might say, I shouldn't have done that. That's a starting point. The next time it happens, you're halfway through blurting it out and you say, I shouldn't be doing this. And then the third time, you're just about to blurt it out and you say, I'm not going to do that. So it generally takes more than 3 efforts, but you get the idea. You wean yourself into it. You teach yourself, remind yourself, find you get a grasp of this. This whole reactive pattern is no longer unconscious. You've now brought it up and you have a say. You can start changing it. Now you can start working on that relationship. And the way you work on it is simply to change your role, your place in that dance that you have with the sibling. And what that turns into, well, you have to discover that. That's a much longer conversation. What you want that relationship to become, you really need to let go of that. That's an expectation of something you can't control. So you have to accept that. If you enjoyed this, why don't you join us at mindfulnesslive.ca, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.